you talked how difficult it was, and I've always wondered about how you have to dredge up these experiences like left, right, and center to play, and how it affects you in your life, and how you can do that. And so that was painful. But you had another experience with a person who was also kind of a little odd, and Marlon Brando, and who was
Really.
and that's less painful because Marlon, I know you love Marlon, and
I
you
worshipped him, yeah, and I still do. And I'm still very close with the family. And Marlon became, again, like Hunter, although he didn't make me shoot a nitroglycerin propane tank. But Marlon and I met over the phone because I wanted to do Don Juan DeMarco with him. And thank you. So we met over the phone. We spoke for 3 hours on the telephone. I was in New York. He was in Los Angeles. I went back the next week. He invited me for dinner. We sat and we talked, and it was we connected on many levels, especially the fact that no one wants to be a novelty. But one of the things that happened was I asked him about. There was a quote by William Saroyan that basically it's a quote. It's a preface of In the Time of Your Life, the play, which the play I don't read the play. Read the preface. It's something that had touched me in a large way, like a philosophical, like the way to live your life, a real roadmap as to live your life. And so I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, he knew, and so he said, how well do you know it? So I began to recite it because at that time I had memorized it. And so I began to recite this preface, In the Time of Your Life. And I got to a certain point, and he finished it.
Oh.
Verbatim. And I was somewhat stupefied. I said, that's incredible. And I pulled out my wallet, and I said, I've carried this dog-eared thing that I had ripped out of a book. I've carried this for years in my wallet. And he said, hang on a second.
But
he got up, and he grabbed a frame that was just by his bed, and he came to me, and he showed it to me. And he had a very similar dog-eared, folded, well-used version of it. It was the same thing that he had carried in his wallet for all those years. So there was this. He understood me very well instantly, and I understood him, and I was very lucky to become so close with the man.
He said to you, he asked about how many films you did, and in terms of thinking about characters.
That was quite a moment, because that's one of those things that's seared onto your brain forever, and the moments before you become smoke, it'll come to you. He asked me, how many films, John? He either called me John or Johan. It was very rarely Johnny. And he said, how many films do you average per year that you do? And I said, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. He said, no, that's too much. So I said, well, why is that too much, man? He said, because we only have so many faces in our pockets.
We only have so many faces in our pocket. You've had a lot of faces, and I want to spend the last few minutes going through some of the faces.
Unfortunately, because of my madness, I feel like there's still a lot of faces in my pockets. So.
Yeah.